Intro, the world expects you to be more than human. Before you close your eyes tonight, I want you to acknowledge something you've never said out loud. Being a man isn't easy. Men are expected to be strong, but not too strong. Calm, but not emotionless. Reliable, but never tired. Confident, even when everything inside you feels uncertain. Everywhere you go, home, work, society, you're judged on the respect you command. A man's life is measured by how he carries himself. And sometimes, that pressure feels heavy. You start wondering if you're losing your edge, if you're disappointing people, if something inside you is slipping. But listen, that feeling didn't show up to break you. It showed up to remind you. There is a conqueror inside you, and he's tired of being silent. Tonight is the night. You reconnect with the man you were always meant to be. Not the boy who doubts himself. Not the man who is scared to fail, but the man who rises. The man who stands tall even when his knees shake. The man who keeps going when no one believes in him. The man who builds himself from the ground up. The man everyone respects. Because he respects himself. This is where your story begins again. Chapter 1. The silent war inside every man. Every great conqueror in history fought two wars. The war on the outside, and the war inside his own mind. Alexander didn't wake up confident. He woke up questioning whether he was enough for the destiny people expected. He was afraid of failing his father's legacy, afraid of disappointing the world, afraid of falling short. Caesar, the man who walked into the Senate with complete authority, started as a man who felt overlooked, underestimated, doubted. Genghis Khan wasn't born dominant. He was born into chaos, betrayal, fear, uncertainty. All of them felt what you feel. The pressure, the expectations, the fear of not being enough. But here is what separated them from the rest. They faced the war inside before they faced the world outside. And that's what you're doing right now. By listening, by trying, by wanting more, by refusing to stay the same. You are not weak for feeling the weight. You are not failing. You are awakening. Respect comes from mastering the chaos inside you, not pretending it doesn't exist. You're fighting a silent war every day, and you're still here. You've already won half the battle. Chapter 2. A man's word is his kingdom. Every conqueror built his legacy on one foundation, his word. Alexander's men followed him across continents. Because when he said, "We go," he went first. Caesar inspired loyalty. Because when he said, "I will return stronger," he meant it. A respected man doesn't need loud promises. He needs consistency. Your word is not sound. Your word is identity. If you say you will wake up at a certain time, you do. If you say you will finish something, you finish. If you say you will change, you begin today. The moment your words match your actions, you become someone others trust without hesitation. People respect men who don't explain too much, don't apologize for being committed, don't break their own rules, don't abandon their standards. Your decisions must mean something. Your promises must carry weight. Your voice must represent concrete. Respect is not about being perfect. Respect is about being solid. Say less, mean more, do more. The world follows men whose words are stronger than their fears. Chapter 3. Calm dominance. The power of a man who knows himself. Real dominance is not loud. Real power is not aggressive. Real alpha presence is calm. Calm like Caesar walking across the Rubicon, knowing the entire world was watching. But his face showed no fear. Calm like Alexander studying the battlefield, while everyone else panicked. Calm like Genghis Khan sitting silently, while advisors shouted over each other. These men understood something most men never learn. A man who controls himself, controls the room. When you are calm, your voice carries weight. Your decisions feel intentional. Your presence becomes heavy. People listen more. People trust more. People respect more. Calm dominates it. Chapter 4. Respect through discipline. Discipline is the birthplace of respect. Every conqueror, every man remembered in history, built his legacy on one thing. What he did when no one was watching. Alexander trained harder than his soldiers. Caesar wrote, studied, planned, even during exile. Genghis Khan sharpened his skills relentlessly, turning weakness into weapon. A respected man is not the strongest, not the loudest, not the most talented. He is the most consistent. People trust discipline more than they trust talent. They respect the man who wakes up early, the man who honors his schedule, the man who shows up on time, the man who keeps his body sharp, the man who stays focused when others get distracted, the man who continues even when motivation fades. Discipline is not about suffering. It's about creating stability inside your own mind. When you keep promises to yourself, you become someone you trust. And when you trust yourself, the world begins trusting you too. Your discipline speaks before you do. It tells people, he is dependable, he is grounded, he does not fold, he is serious about his life. In a noisy world, discipline is silent proof of a man's character. And that silence is powerful. Chapter 5. Treating the weak with strength. Here is something conquerors understood deeply. A man's true dominance is revealed not in how he treats the strong, but in how he treats the weak. Julius Caesar wept for defeated enemies. Alexander spared families and children in conquered lands. Genghis Khan, often seen as ruthless in war, still protected orphans, the elderly, and the poor in his own people. Real men treat vulnerable people with dignity. Because a respected man doesn't need to step on others to feel tall. He lifts people gently. He makes children feel seen. He makes women feel safe. He makes the poor feel human. He makes those beneath him feel respected. Not because he has to, but because that's what men of honor do. Strength without compassion is insecurity. Strength with compassion is leadership. When a man is kind to those who can offer him nothing, his respect becomes undeniable. People feel safe around him. People feel valued around him. People feel uplifted around him. And nothing commands respect more than being a source of stability for others. You become the man people remember, the man people talk about, the man people look up to, not because you were feared, but because you were trusted. Chapter 6. Never pick battles with the weak. Weak men pick easy fights. Weak men attack the vulnerable. Weak men target those beneath them, to feel bigger than they really are. Conquerors never needed that. Alexander didn't waste energy on small enemies. He aimed for kings, for empires, for giants. Caesar didn't challenge minor rivals. He challenged the Roman Senate, the highest power of his time. Genghis Khan didn't build his name by crushing peasants. He built it by defeating tribal chiefs, warlords, and armies that dwarfed his own. Real men don't need weak opponents. They need worthy challenges. That is how you grow. That is how you evolve. That is how you sharpen yourself. Picking battles with weak targets is a sign of insecurity. Choosing battles with strong challenges is a sign of character. You don't waste time proving yourself to people beneath your standards. You don't argue with the small. You don't fight meaningless fights. Your energy is too valuable. Your destiny is too big. Your focus is too sharp. Respect grows when you choose your battles wisely. Chapter 7. Boundaries equals respect. If you want people to respect you, you must learn this truth. A man without boundaries will always be taken for granted. Boundaries are not walls. They are lines of self-respect. Conquerors understood boundaries, not just in land, but in behavior. Alexander demanded loyalty. Caesar expected honesty. Genghis Khan enforced discipline. A boundary tells people, this is who I am. This is what I allow. This is what I refuse. This is how I live. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If someone disrespects you once, and you let it pass, they learn they can push you again. If someone crosses your line, and Chapter 8. Emotional strength. The foundation of a respected man. Most men are taught to hide their emotions, to bury them, to never show weakness, to never admit pain. But here's the truth. Conquerors did not hide emotion. They mastered it. Alexander cared deeply for his men, and that made them loyal. Caesar expressed grief, love, fear, and still led with authority. Genghis Khan felt rage, heartbreak, betrayal, but channeled it into clarity, not chaos. A respected man is not emotionless. A respected man is in control. He allows himself to feel, but he chooses how he reacts. This is emotional strength. When the world overwhelms you, you stay steady. When someone disrespects you, you protect your peace first. When life throws pressure at you, you respond with discipline. When fear whispers in your ear, you keep walking forward. Emotional strength is not about pretending. It's about transforming the emotions that rise within you. Pain becomes perspective. Fear becomes fuel. Anger becomes clarity. Sadness becomes depth. Pressure becomes purpose. People don't respect the man who feels nothing. They respect the man who feels everything, but is ruled by nothing. That is the man you are becoming. Chapter 9. Building a powerful presence. Presence is not built in a day. It is carved, slowly, silently, intentionally. Think of any conqueror in history. When Caesar entered a room, the atmosphere shifted. People felt the gravity of his presence. Before he said a word, when Alexander stood before his army, his men straightened their backs. Without him giving a command, Genghis Khan barely spoke during meetings. But when he did, every voice fell silent. This was not magic. This was presence. And presence comes from 1. The way you stand. Straight, grounded, balanced. 2. The way you breathe. Slow, deep, steady, never rushed. 3. The way you speak. Measured, controlled, intentional. 4. The way you look at people. Not aggressively, but calmly, directly, confidently. 5. The way you listen. Strong men listen fully. Their silence carries more weight than others' words. 6. The way you carry yourself. No fidgeting. No nervous behaviors. No over-explaining. No overreacting. Presence is not loud. Presence is not theatrical. Presence is felt. A respected man walks differently, moves differently, thinks differently, speaks differently. He does not chase attention. Attention naturally gravitates to him. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. When your inner world is calm, your outer world becomes powerful. Presence is built from within. And tonight, that inner world is becoming unshakable. Chapter 10. Respect at home. A man's greatest test is not the world outside, not the battlefield of society, not the pressure of his career. It is home. At home, you are not respected because of your achievements, not because of your titles, not because of your money. You are respected for your character. Your family sees your real discipline, your real habits, your real decisions, your real flaws, your real strengths, your real consistency. A respected man at home is the calm in the storm, the voice that brings stability, the presence that brings safety, the man who acts, not just talks, the man whose word means something, the man who corrects himself before correcting others, the man who carries responsibility quietly, the man who protects his peace without raising his voice. Respect at home is earned daily, through small actions, when you treat people kindly, when you stay composed, when you lead by example, when you stay firm on your values. Chapter 11. Respect at work. The workplace is another battlefield, where respect is constantly negotiated, not with swords, not with armies, but with behavior, consistency, responsibility, calmness, reliability, expertise, presence. At work, people don't respect you for being loud. They respect you for being dependable. They respect the man who finishes what he starts. They respect the man whose voice stays steady when pressure rises. They respect the man who doesn't gossip, complain, or panic. They respect the man who remains professional when others lose control. They respect the man whose actions match his words. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the most experienced. You don't need to be the most charismatic. You need to be consistent, stable, disciplined, solution-oriented, respectful, calm under pressure, reliable when others fall apart. This is how you build a reputation. In time, people will look at you and think, If he's here, it will be handled. If he said it, it will be done. If he's working on it, I can trust the result. That is respect. That is influence. That is leadership without forcing authority. This is how conquerors led. Not by shouting, not by threatening, but by showing competence, consistency, and calm command. You are becoming that man. One decision, one discipline, one day at a time. Chapter 12. Respect in public. Respect in public is not earned by forcing anything. It is earned by the way you carry yourself, the way you walk, the way you observe, the way you remain composed in situations that rattle other people. Public respect comes from your energy, your tone, your silence, your self-control. Think about Alexander entering new lands. He didn't need banners or fanfare. People felt authority simply by the way he stood. Calm, grounded, aware. Caesar didn't demand people bow. He commanded presence by the quality of his decisions and the steadiness in his demeanor. Genghis Khan's presence was so strong that even his quiet moments held weight. Your presence is your reputation, and presence is built from the inside out. When you walk into a room, stand tall, not stiff. Move slow, not hesitant. Look around with calm eyes, not suspicion. Speak at a steady pace, not rushed. Public respect rises when people feel, this man knows himself. This man respects himself. This man has nothing to prove, and that makes him powerful. Respect in public is the echo of your inner discipline. You don't build it for the world. You build it for yourself, and the world simply responds. Chapter 13. Integrity, the heart of a respected man. If there is one trait that separates respected men from the rest, it is integrity, not perfection, not flawlessness, not success. Integrity. Integrity means your truth is consistent. Your values are firm. Your behavior matches your beliefs. You make choices based on principle, not pressure. You do the right thing, even when nobody sees it. You don't pretend to be someone you're not. Caesar lost battles. Alexander made mistakes. Genghis Khan faced betrayal and heartbreak. But their integrity, the alignment between their actions and their principles, is what made their men follow them into the unknown. Integrity is a form of quiet dominance. You don't brag about your morals. You live them. You don't force others to follow your standards. You simply hold yourself to them. Integrity earns respect faster than power ever will, because strength impresses people for a moment, but integrity inspires people for a lifetime. Chapter 14. How Kings Think. A conqueror's mind is different, because he thinks beyond the moment. He doesn't react to everything. He doesn't fall for petty drama. He doesn't waste time proving himself. He doesn't live for applause. He doesn't let insecurity guide him. Kings think from a place of calm strategy, long-term vision, clarity, purpose, restraint, grounded confidence. When something goes wrong, they don't break down. They adjust, redirect, continue. When someone disrespects them, they don't collapse. They reinforce their boundaries. Chapter 15. Becoming the man you respect. This is the most important chapter of all. Everything you've learned about calm dominance, about discipline, about presence, about emotional strength, about integrity, about boundaries. None of it matters if you do not become the man you respect. Respecting yourself means you keep your promises to yourself. You stand by your decisions. You don't betray your values. You don't act out of desperation. You don't lower your standards for temporary comfort. You don't become someone you don't admire. The world treats you the way you treat yourself. If you stand strong for yourself, the world stands differently around you. If you speak truth to yourself, your voice gains weight. If you build discipline for yourself, your presence grows. If you honor your feelings, your emotional strength deepens. If you hold boundaries for yourself, your value increases. A respected man is simply a man who respects himself first. Tonight, you are becoming him. Final, the man you were always meant to become. As you reach the end of this audiobook, slow your breathing. Feel your chest rise. Feel the calm. Feel the power resting quietly beneath your ribs. You have walked through the foundations of masculinity that conquerors lived by. Not aggression, not ego, not force, but presence, integrity, discipline, boundaries, calm confidence, emotional strength, purpose, self-respect. This is not loud masculinity. This is not toxic masculinity. This is mature masculinity. Stable, grounded, solid. The kind of masculinity that earns respect. Because it is built on character, not noise. Tonight, you learn to see yourself differently. You felt the weight of the man inside you, who has always been there, waiting, quietly, to rise. You do not need to dominate the world. You need to master yourself. And when you do, respect stops being something you chase and becomes something you naturally command. Close your eyes and breathe slowly. You are becoming the man who stands firm, who walks with purpose, who speaks with intention, who treats the weak with dignity, who values his principles, who keeps his word, who protects his peace, who respects himself. And because of that, the world will respect you too. Sleep well. Your rise begins now.